I've got this save in The Sims 4 that I've been playing with for 9 generations. So as you can imagine, I am a little bit attached to these Sims. And right now I'm kind of in a weird phase where all of my last Sims are about to die. Like they're elders, the bar is glowing, the clock is ticking, and the next generation Sims all just became young adults. So it's kind of time to like build a new house and set up the next generation. So today I want to build that new house for my 9 generation Sims family. Now a lot of you may have seen these Sims before because I actually have a Let's Play here on my YouTube channel where I play with this save. If you're interested in watching that, I can link the playlist down below for you. And I realize that it might seem a little bit intimidating because I just explained how it's like 9 generations long, but I swear it's not that bad. The thing about a series like this or a save file like this is that each generation is kind of its own mini series. So if you were to start watching right now, it's actually a pretty good time because we're sort of starting a new generation, which again is kind of its own mini series. And you don't really need to worry about what happened like 5 generations ago because those Sims are all long dead. I bet half the people who watched it don't even know those Sims names anymore. So like, it's fine. It's fun if you want to go back and watch those things. And I had a lot of fun playing with it, but don't feel like you have to have seen the whole thing to like want to watch it now, basically. But for those of you that haven't seen, let me walk you through who's actually going to live in this house because we're gonna need to build a big space with like not that much money. You might be thinking like, Kayla, how do you only have like 130,000 simoleons when you've had the Sims family for 9 generations? But I've been playing on short lifespans, so things happen fast and my Sims don't have a ton of time to like max out their careers really. And they're like all constantly dying. I have this thing, it's like a fire toilet. It lights on fire very frequently. It basically has an upgrade where it can spontaneously combust. It sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but there's like a handiness skill upgrade that came with Eco Lifestyle where you can choose to upgrade a toilet to have a composting container. And then if you don't use the compost, it will just catch on fire. And so I've been dealing with that for a long time. I first upgraded it by accident and didn't realize. And then I thought it was so funny how often it would catch on fire that I just kept it. But now I've had like 9 generations worth of daily fires that I have to keep replacing all of the burnt things from. So like the fire starts in the bathroom, it burns the toilet, it burns the shower, I have to replace it a bunch of times, and then I just spend all my money replacing burnt showers. And that's why I only have like 130,000 simoleons, because usually at this point in a legacy, you'd have a lot more money than this, but not us because of my toilet. Now the Sims that actually live here are a little bit confusing. So I'm building this house for like the new generation heir. This is like the Gen 9 main Sim basically. Typically how I and most people play legacy challenges is you start off with 1 Sim on a huge empty lot and like only 1,800 simoleons. So I did that with Gen 1, and then slowly as my family grows and as we're like earning more money and stuff like that, we obviously get bigger and better houses. And then we get to a point like this where we have loads of money and like fire toilets and all kinds of silly like family history remnants. And usually in these legacies, most people play with like 1 Sim per generation. It's really hard when you've been playing for this long to like play with each of the generation's kids. So usually I'll just pick one as like the main Sim and then I'll move out the other siblings because it's really hard to focus on that many Sims at once. So my new main Sim is a triplet. So she has a brother and a sister. All 3 of those Sims just became young adults, so all 3 of them still live here. So I had to have bedrooms for them. And then I also currently have 3 elders, which I probably don't need to make like the fanciest rooms for because they are all about to die. I'm like not even exaggerating. I'm pretty sure one of them is gonna die like when I next press play. Like the clock is really ticking. I think she's very close to death. I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny. Like I'm very attached to this Sim, but I'm just trying to prepare myself, okay? So I've got the 3 young adults that are triplets, and then I have 3 elders because their parents live here and also their great grandma lives here, which I realize is kind of confusing. Like how is the great grandma still alive and how is she the same age as her grandkid? But long story short, this great grandma died like a long time ago. She died prematurely in one of those toilet fires. And so I decided to bring her back as a ghost. And then I spent a very long time trying to get Ambrosia to bring her back to life completely. So this is like her second life. She was a ghost for a while and then she was alive again. And now she's an elder who is about to die. So those are all the Sims that live here. We also have a cat. And in building this house, I obviously had to make room for like all of those Sims, these 6 adults and the cat. Keeping in mind that like the siblings are going to move out soon. Obviously the grandparents are going to die soon. So I'll have space to like have kids and stuff once they're all gone. But that is the current situation and that is who I had to build for. It's actually been really overwhelming trying to play in this household recently because normally I typically tend tend to play with like 2 Sims and like their 3 kids. I don't usually have 6 adults all at once, and it's really hard to do. I've actually noticed that I think playing with that many adult Sims is harder than playing with like toddlers and stuff, because I feel more of like a desire to set up a storyline for the adults, and they need to each have sort of their own like individual life, where like I want this one to be getting a job and skill building and like finding a partner maybe, but they also have like 5 other ones I need to worry about. Whereas with toddlers and stuff, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, toddler, eat. Okay, toddler, use the slide. I guess I have like less to worry about storyline wise when they're so young. And now that all the Sims are old, I'm like really stressed out trying to set them all up to have a good life. So I'm kind of excited for the household to get a little bit smaller, but I probably shouldn't say that because I'm gonna regret it when all my beloved Sims die. But anyway, that's the situation right now. That's kind of the breakdown of who's gonna live here. This style of house is really different for me. Now, I've had kind of a hard time building houses on this lot because I've lived on this lot for a super long time, like since the first generation. And I did that on purpose because I don't really find myself building in or playing in Oasis Springs that much. Like I think Oasis Springs might be one of my least favorite worlds that we have for The Sims 4, which I guess makes very little sense. Like, why did you decide to live there for 10 generations? But I kind of wanted an excuse to try and live here and like build different kinds of things while out here. And I also really liked how this lot was directly across the street from the land grabs. Like, I felt as though the land grabs kind of have legacy challenge vibes, and so I wanted to live up here in this neighborhood. But it's been really challenging to try and do builds in this neighborhood because, one, I don't really like doing modern builds, okay? It's just not my style. Like, I just don't like them that much, which is why I don't do it very often. And the desert is so hard to build in. I just don't like the desert that much. I prefer like really lush green things. You can see here in the build that I like put some grass in the front yard. I used the grass that they had like on the sides and kind of extended it out, and then I also put grass in the backyard because I just don't want to have only desert. I've done that. I've built 9 houses now on this lot for this family, so we've had like every style imaginable, you know? I did like this industrial thing. I did like a mid-century modern house. We've had some more like Mediterranean style things. Like I've done everything that you can imagine on this lot. And so it's really hard at this point to think of something new that also fits my sim. But this generation's heir is named Baby. Her full name is Baby Bell, last name Bell, full name Baby Bell, like the brand of cheese. I don't know. I've had 9 generations, so we've kind of, we've really been picking some interesting names recently, but I think it's fun. And Baby Bell's whole thing is that she was like very popular in high school. She's very pretty, very charismatic. She wants to be an actress. Like she kind of wants to be famous. And so with this house, I was kind of trying to go for like, I don't know, fancy LA mansion sort of vibes, but also like cute pastel furniture on the inside, almost like Barbie dream house, but instead of Barbie dream house, it's like baby dream house. But that was sort of the style I was trying to aim for. It ends up being very pink on the outside. It's like an all white house with a pink roof and like some pretty pink flowers in the landscaping. And then on the inside, I went for very pastel. It's a lot of like pink and blue with some yellow accents here and there. And I tried to do a few things that I never do. Like I did some 2-toned cabinets in the kitchen. There's like white lower cabinets and these blue upper cabinets. There's a huge island. I mean, I really tried to make like a fancy gourmet kitchen, just the kind of thing you would see in like some famous actress's house, you know, but also kind of cutesy at the same time. This was kind of an interesting build too, because I didn't really think that budget would be an issue because we do have a lot of money at this point, but it ended up kind of being one. So I had to do a few things to cut costs towards the end. I also came in here with like less money than I actually had. Basically, my Sims, I think, had like 160,000 simoleons total when I bulldozed the lot and stuff. And then I chose to build this in a new save as to not like risk ruining their existing house just in case, because like I've got a lot of family photos and like cute little heirloom type of things that I don't want to lose. Like one of my Sims found fire ants on like a honeymoon camping trip, and I've kept these fire ants on my kitchen counter for literally years. Like I've just always had these fire ants on the counter, so I can't risk forgetting them. So I built this in a different save, and then I'm gonna like place the lot down and move move the Sims in that way, because that way I can like really go through and make sure I don't forget to add anything important to my household inventory or anything. But anyway, on this lot, I gave myself like 130,000 simoleons, a little bit less than I actually had, just in case, like to be safe and kind of help pace myself so I don't overspend. And then I would know like I had a little bit of wiggle room at the end if I wanted to go back and like add a fancier computer or something. And then ultimately at the very end of this, I went through and I built the whole house, like placing actual furniture. Like I placed an expensive stove and fridge, I put a TV and stuff. But then when I actually finished the build, I deleted all those things because my Sims already have that TV, they already have that fridge. So I figured I would just save theirs and then put theirs back instead of like buying a brand new one, because items in The Sims do depreciate over time. So I would lose money if I like sold my stove and then bought the same one again. So I just decided to keep mine. Normally that's not really a huge issue. Like I wouldn't bother with that when it's like cheap things like a chair or something. But if you've got like the most expensive bed in the game, or in this case, like one of the most expensive TVs in the game, it's probably worth just keeping yours and not like buying it again from scratch, because you do lose money. A lot of times that's not an issue if your Sims have a lot of money, but I was trying to build a very big house and I had a lot of bedrooms to decorate. So at a certain point I was like, oh yikes, I might need to be a little bit careful. Like when I was furnishing this house, I was kind of going all out with the outside. I went all out with the downstairs, and then I got to furnish the office and I was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't buy that 3,000 simoleon canvas. Like perhaps I should tone it down a little bit just in case and like go and furnish the rest of the bedrooms first, because I realized that I was gonna spend like all of the money on the office and then get upstairs and have no money left to furnish the bedrooms. And there's 4 bedrooms upstairs, or maybe even 5. No, there's 4. There's 4 bedrooms upstairs because there's the parents, the grandma, and then the 2 siblings. Downstairs we have baby's bedroom, like the primary bedroom. This one ended up being really quirky and really colorful. I don't normally do stuff like this for my adult Sims. Like I normally decorate my Sims teen bedrooms like that, but I figured number one, baby is still very young. Like she became a young adult literally today in game, so she's allowed to have like youngish taste. And also, who is to say that an adult Sim can't have a floral bed? Like anybody can have a floral bed. There's no age limit on that. So I kept it like this. I also really liked the color scheme of this bed. This was kind of the inspiration for the whole house. I just did the bedroom afterward, but I saw that bed and I was like, oh my god, this pink, blue, and yellow is so good. So I used that everywhere. And it's also kind of fitting because my Sim baby is trans and now she's got like this trans pride colored house. That wasn't entirely intentional, but it did work out and it is cute. So I kind of like it. I also got to use the bathroom kit to decorate all of these bathrooms. This is the first house that I built with the bathroom kit actually, and I cut out all of the footage of the bathrooms before I uploaded the video. I'll show you at the end. I'll do a tour and like show you at the end. It's so hard with builds like this because this one took me 6 hours in real life. Obviously I've sped it up and like cut some things out. You might have seen like I cut out some landscaping and I cut out the floor plan building and stuff. A lot of the things that were very slow that I had to redo a lot to figure out what to do, I ended up cutting those out. Things like the bathrooms that are small and like not that detailed, I cut those out too, because otherwise this speed build would be like an hour long and I don't think anybody needs that. I think that's too much of sped up Sims footage. So I tried to keep like the most important parts in, and then I'll show you the rest in the tour at the end. There's a couple cute details in baby's room. She's got like a little vanity in there. Obviously she has like a cat bed and stuff, but because she's an actress, I wanted to make sure she had a few skill building things too. That's part of what I was trying to focus on in her office, because in the acting career, you have to actually have a lot of skills. They don't always have to be very high level skills, but like early on, it'll give you a choice of like 4 acting gigs. Maybe one needs the guitar skill and one needs the cooking skill, one needs charisma, one needs comedy. And so if you're gonna do a lot of gigs, you're gonna need a lot of skills to like fit for all of those auditions. And so I wanted to make sure she had like kind of a skill building room, because also just in general, when we have this many Sims living here, everybody's gonna need to do some skill building at some point. So in that office, I put like a guitar, there's a microphone for like joke telling and stuff. I mean, I tried to make sure we had a lot of things like that. And then upstairs is where I put all of the other bedrooms. So like the other triplets rooms, the parents, the grandparents. This first one, this like all black bedroom, belongs to baby's sister Barb. Barb is really into both writing and sports. So she ends up being in the writing career, but I think she's gonna do a lot of like the fitness skill too. She was like on the football team in high school and everything. And so I decorated her room in like a very dark color scheme. She had this sort of vibe in the old house in her bedroom as well. It was actually kind of cool because when they were teens, her and baby shared a bedroom, and I kind of had it split down the middle. Like one side was all pink, the other side was like all black and purple, basically, kind of like this. And so I tried to sort of recreate that here, but at least she has her own room this time. And at this point also, I was getting a little bit nervous about money, so I wanted to decorate and like give her some stuff on the walls, but I was also a little bit nervous about spending too much. And obviously I knew that like at home in the real save, I have all of these things. I have so many family photos, random little, you know, wooden sculptures they've made, and like knitted things they've made. So I've got a lot of items that I can use for decor at home. Not to be like, oh, we've got food at home, but we actually do have decor at home. And so I left a few of the walls kind of blank, assuming that when I actually move into the house with my Sims, I'll use those things as decorations. And I guess I also kind of knew that both Barb and her brother Bryce, whose room we're doing now, are gonna move out kind of soon. So I don't need to like really go all out and decorate it, because I'm just gonna delete this furniture and then probably place like a baby's room in here. Not baby the Sim, but like literally a baby. Like if a child is born, this will be their bedroom probably. Baby's baby will live here. That is so confusing. Oh my god. I've got this Sim named Baby. The baby update's coming out. We're gonna have babies. Oh, too many babies on the channel right now. Too many babies. Anyway, this room belongs to their other sibling, Bryce. He's kind of into sports as well. I ended up putting him in the tech guru career, so he's got his own computer and stuff to work on that. And then on the other side of this upstairs, we have two other bedrooms for like the parents and also for grandma. They each have their own rooms. One of them belongs to the Sim who like had died and was a ghost and then came back to life. And so in her bedroom, I put like ghost wallpaper on the wall. It's tasteful, okay? Not like a tacky ghost wallpaper, but like a tasteful ghost wallpaper. I'll show you. And then the other bedroom, this one's kind of like a secondary primary bedroom, which is a weird thing to say, but this one has its own giant balcony. This one is for Blue and their husband. They're like the previous generation heirs, so they have kind of a nice room as well. Blue is named Bluebell, like the flower, and they were in the flower arranging gardener career or whatever. And so I wanted to make sure they had a bunch of plants in here. So they have a balcony with access to like all of their extra plants. They've got like, I ended up putting a bonsai tree in here so they could work on that too. And the room is all blue, given that the Sim's name is Blue. I tried to really embrace that vibe. And so it has like a blue floral rug and like blue bed and everything. I know, if my name was Blue, I would play into it too. I'd have a blue bedroom. So I did that here, but we're kind of coming close to the end of the speed build now. I'm just putting some like finishing touches on these last rooms. Obviously I cut out a few things, so I want to pop back into the game and show you like a full tour of the whole house, show you around, point out some things that I like, also point out some things that I'm going to add once I actually move the Sims in. It's always weird with these because I want to put up like a normal version of the house on the gallery and then go in and like add all my weird stuff back, because you don't need to have like my fire ants in the build on the gallery, right? Like no one needs to have all of those weird little things my Sims keep. But once I put all that back, I'll put that version on the gallery too. We'll have both versions up there. So here is the finished product, the complete house. Obviously I cut out a few parts of the exterior here, so I'm gonna walk you through it. I mentioned how it was like baby dream house vibes, Barbie dream house vibes. So I have like a pink roof. We've got all this pink landscaping everywhere. I really tried to use the fact that we have this little green part in the front to like expand the grass out. So I've got this grass here and it kind of continues down the front yard, so it isn't all desert sand. I also used some kind of interesting landscaping. I never use these flowers. This is, I think, one of my least favorite plants in the whole game, but I've never used it in that swatch before, and I think it looks kind of cool, like sized up occasionally. This is the thistle plant from the Romantic Garden Stuff pack, and it has some really wacky swatches, like some kind of alien-like swatches, but also this super cute pink one, so I used that around here. I also added like a pink tree and stuff as an accent on the side. On the front here, I tried to make this empty wall look sort of interesting. The stairs are right there on the inside, but on the outside, I put like this green wall and some slats. We even have this little frog fountain. I don't know. It's just kind of a fun little detail. Over here, this is my shark pond. I'm gonna have to stock it again with sharks, but basically, it's that I use that when I have to get rid of someone. I'm not kidding. So need that. I put it in the corner. I use it as kind of a stopping point for the grass too. In the backyard, we have like a little stone pathway. It goes past like some flamingos and a bench and stuff. Over here in the corner, I tried to make like a really cool outdoor kitchen. So we have a bar, there's a grill, we have like a lemonade thing, and this sort of cool like fake pergola. Oh my god, there's a blue wall on the outside. Sorry, my bad. We also have a hot tub right here. There's a huge pool that's got actually pink tile on the inside. I have like a diving board, there's a swing set, yoga mat. Over here, we have these like really cute pink lounge chairs, and I put some extra planter boxes for Blue because obviously they're a gardener. There's a couple balconies. We have one little one over here, and then we have a bigger one in the back. I've kind of just put like planter boxes and chess tables up there. I'm probably gonna need to go back and like swap it out for a flower arranging table and stuff, but for now we just have those things. On the inside, you first walk into this little front door right here, and you're gonna see a lot of pink in here, by the way, so bear with me. But we have a little entryway. I've got like a phone, some extra shoes and stuff. Also a light switch. I made sure to use a lot of those. I don't know if that's too high up or not. It might be. I'd have to see how tall a sim is. It's hard to tell when the door is so high up, you know? We have a little staircase kind of in that bump out in the front, and I actually hid a little cat tree and the cat's litter box down there. I think that they can get to it, but I haven't actually tested it yet. You don't need to worry about Sims getting to it though, because this is the litter box that uses lasers to kill the poop, so no one needs to clean it. It just needs to be accessible by the cat, and the cat can get under there, I think. Now over here is where the TV used to be, but like I had mentioned, I actually deleted the TV because I'm just gonna like bring it with me when I move. But picture like a big TV right there. We have this cute little pink and blue living room area. Over here is the kitchen that obviously I've also deleted the stove and the fridge from, but like imagine, you know, there's a stove, there's a fridge. I don't usually like the look of two-tone cabinetry. I really struggle to make it work. And at first I wasn't sure because I feel like usually when I see this kind of thing in real life, there would be like blue bottom cabinets and white upper cabinets, like the lighter ones are higher. But I tried it this way and it has like the blue island. I kind of like it. I'm not sure. It's new to me. I'm experimenting. And then over here we have a little dining room with like some pink accents. This hallway takes you down to the first bathroom, which is kind of pink and green themed, which I really like. I love this rug so much. That was like the whole inspiration, obviously, but it works really well with this parenthood shower. I also put some cute little decor and stuff from the new bathroom clutter kit. And then this way is baby's bedroom. So the primary bedroom in the house. You can see we have that bed as like the main inspiration, and then we kind of just tied it together with like some orange accents and things. I really like how this room turned out. And then baby has her own ensuite bathroom, kind of inspired by this rug, but I did this cool like double sink thing and put all these clutter items on it. It just has a shower and a toilet in here, nothing too fancy because it's not very big. In fact, one of the kind of biggest problems with this house is that it only has 3 bathrooms, but it's fine. It's too late. I can't go back and change it. This is just what we have. Over here is the office. And again, I kind of ran out of money in here, so I might need to change this once I like do more skill building. Maybe it'll be a gym or something, but for now, it used to have a computer. I just thought I'd bring my own, so I deleted it. But we have a computer. We have like a little art station. There's some bookshelves. I'm gonna put like all of my snow globe collection in these, I think. And then when you go up the stairs, this part I think is kind of weird. There's a really long hallway. I think I'm gonna put like a huge gallery wall of family photos right here to like fill in the whole space. But we also have like, you know, the thermostats and bookshelves and stuff. This first bedroom belongs to Barb. It's got that darker color scheme. I mentioned how she was into fitness and writing, so I put like some cute little decor items for her. And then her brother Bryce is also kind of into sports, but also programming. So he's got this room. They would both have computers. I just had to delete them for money purposes. So there's empty desks in there. The gallery version has all this stuff, by the way. I didn't upload it to the gallery without a fridge, I promise. Over here is the other hall bathroom. Now it's very kid-like because I imagined I would have kids soon, like, you know, once these people die. So I've got this like cute cat themed bathroom. There's even a toddler potty. There is no toddler here, but I'm ready for when there is one. This is that secondary primary bedroom that belongs to Blue. It's very plant themed. It's got a lot of cute decor in here too. And then they have their own balcony that I'm gonna put all their plants up on and stuff, and probably also their flower arranging table. And then this is that ghost room that I had mentioned. We have the ghost wallpaper. I told you it was tasteful. It's not as scary as it sounds. There's like a little ghost accent wall and then kind of like a mint and gray color scheme in here. I'm gonna be really sad when Anna dies because I like this room. I think it's cute. I also like Anna, but you know, she's lived twice. It's fine. I'll be okay. But anyway, that is the complete finished product of the house. I posted an episode of this series yesterday if you want to watch it, so I'm gonna link that down below for you, but I'll also link the playlist if you want to go and see that too. It's like a new mini series each time. But thank you so much for watching. Have the best rest of your day, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. Right here is yesterday's episode, by the way, if you want to go back and watch it. Like I had mentioned, now is a good time to watch because it's kind of like the first part of a new series.